Hello, my name is Mike. This happened not long ago. I live in a two-bedroom apartment with my roommate, Eddie. I did not know him before we moved in. We met through an online housing group. When we first met to check the place, he seemed like a normal guy. Quiet, polite, a little strange, but not in a bad way. At the time, I did not care. All I wanted was someone to split the rent with. I was not looking for a friend. The first few months were fine. Our work schedules were opposite. I worked a regular 8 to 4 office job, and he worked late shifts at a warehouse. So we rarely crossed paths. Most mornings when I left, his door was closed. At night, when I came home, he was usually already gone. Once or twice a week, we would exchange a few words in the kitchen or living room. Then, small things in my room started to catch my attention. For example, my closet door was open. That was not my habit. It made me uncomfortable. A few days later, I noticed that my desk had been moved slightly from its usual place. I wondered if I had bumped into it, but no, that had not happened. Again, I ignored it and told myself I was just being careless. Still, it left a strange feeling in my stomach, like someone had been in my room. One morning, I was cleaning. I wiped the shelves, dusted everything, and then moved on to the window. That was when I saw it. In the corner where the wall met the ceiling, there was a small black dot. I thought it was a screw or a hole in the wall, but when I got closer, I froze. It was a small, hidden camera, pointed directly at my bed. With shaking hands, I pulled it off the wall. It was not even well hidden, just stuck there with a small piece of adhesive. It had a memory card slot, but there was no card inside. I just stood there, feeling sick. I thought about all the nights I had slept there, changed clothes there, even been intimate with women there. The only person who could have placed it was Eddie. He was the only other person with access to the apartment. He was not home. His door was closed, and the apartment was silent. I stood in the hallway, my heart pounding. I looked at his door. I told myself not to do it, but curiosity won. Slowly, I turned the handle and opened it. His room smelled like stale food and dirty laundry. The blinds were closed, and even though it was daytime, the room was dark. His bed was messy, and his desk was covered with papers, unopened mail, and loose coins. I searched around a bit, half expecting to find another camera or maybe recordings on his laptop, but there was nothing obvious, just a messy room. I closed the door and went back to my room, but the uneasiness would not leave me. I decided to test him to see if he was really responsible. I hid the camera among my clothes inside my nightstand drawer. My plan was simple. If he came looking for it, then I would know for sure that he had placed it. For 3 nights, nothing happened. I was still tense, but since there were no signs, I started to think maybe I was overreacting. Then the 4th night came. I woke up around 4 a.m. At first, I was not sure why, but then I heard a sound. It was soft, like wood rubbing against wood. Then I realized it was coming from right next to me, from my nightstand drawer. I opened my eyes just a little and pretended to still be asleep. In the faint light coming through the blinds, I saw a figure. It was Eddie. He was standing in my room, bent over my nightstand, digging through the drawer where I had hidden the camera. I panicked. My heart was racing, and my head started to ache like a knife was being driven into my brain. Then he stopped. He froze completely, totally still. Slowly, he turned his head toward the bed. He was looking at me. directly at me. For a moment, I thought he was unsure whether I was awake. Then he spoke. He said he knew I was awake. A cold shiver ran down my spine. Then he asked me what I had done with it. I jumped up, my fear turning into anger. I demanded to know why he had put a camera in my room. He looked at me and said he thought I had stolen something from him, and that was why he did it. I told him that was ridiculous, that it made no sense. I told him he had aimed the camera at my bed and that it was one of the most disgusting things I had ever seen. He tried to say he only wanted proof, but I did not believe him. I told him he was lying and that he had been spying on me. We started yelling at each other. He kept saying I was exaggerating. I told him I would report him to the landlord, and maybe even to the police. My voice was shaking with both fear and anger. Finally, I yanked open the drawer, grabbed the camera, and held it up. I told him this was proof and that he would never get it back. I stormed out of my room into the kitchen and threw the camera straight into the trash. I told him to stay away from my room and that I would tell the landlord everything the next day. Eddie stood in the hallway with his fists clenched, just staring at me with an empty expression. Then he turned and went back into his room without saying a word. I did not sleep that night. I sat on the couch with the TV on, too afraid that he might come back into my room. Every little sound in the apartment made me jump. When the sun finally came up, I checked the trash can. The camera was gone. That was a week ago. I told the landlord everything that happened. He said he would look into it, but so far nothing has been done. Eddie is still living here. We do not speak, but the way he looks at me when we cross paths makes my stomach turn. It feels like he is waiting for me to say or do something. As a precaution, I had a lock installed on my bedroom door. I still do not know why he really put the camera there. His excuse about theft was an obvious lie. I do not know what he wanted to record or what he planned to do with it. And honestly, I do not want to know. But every night when I lie in bed, I cannot shake the feeling that there are more cameras hidden around me. Maybe in places I would never think to check. I searched the entire room from top to bottom and found nothing. Still, the thought never leaves my mind. Last night, I was awake late, and I heard footsteps in the hallway. Then they stopped right outside my door. There was more than a minute of silence, just the faint sound of the wooden floor creaking under the pressure of someone standing there. He stood there like a stalker for a minute or two, then finally walked away. I am thinking about moving out. I am also trying to figure out if it is even possible to file a case for invasion of privacy or something like that, since I did not think to take a photo of the camera or record the confrontation. I have no messages from him admitting that he placed it there. I literally have no proof. But anyway, wish me luck in this situation, because I honestly do not know how this will end.